Truck drivers from all over the US are exhausted, underpaid, and frustrated.
Long durations, long miles throughout the day to get stuff where it needs to be.
The trucks are the backbone of the country. If we stop, everybody knows this country stopped.
Hundreds showed up for this convoy protesting COVID-19 restrictions in February.
I wanted to be in the first wave, make sure that we were making the big statement.
But much of what plagues the industry started long before the pandemic. So why are drivers in the US so frustrated? And how did we get here? Truck driving used to be one of the best blue-collar jobs around. It was a golden ticket to the middle class. A strong union fought for high wages and good working conditions, but it didn't last.
The troubles that truck drivers have today really began in 1980 with deregulation.
That's when a new law called the Motor Carrier Act got rid of the fixed rates truckers used to charge.
Trucking industry has probably changed so much over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It is something that doesn't get recognized as much as it should.
Chris Barnes has worked as an independent contractor since May 2021.
International, you want to sneak up in front?
He was frustrated with COVID restrictions at the US-Canada border that made his job much harder. So he drove nearly 1,000 miles from Tacoma, Washington to join the convoy in Adelanto, California. The plan was to drive cross-country and reach the capital. He's traveling with his daughter and his dog.
I think Taco's feeling it the most because, small quarters, and he's getting to the point where he's letting you know he doesn't like you getting in his area.
Like most drivers, he owns his big rig. It cost him $23,000. He also has to pay for gas and repairs.
Yeah, I've got an older truck, but I'm a gearhead, so it's something that I can keep moving down the road till I get to the truck I want.
Chris spends $8,000 on these expenses every month. He has to drive at least 2,500 miles to break even.
I'd like to get some full fenders on my drive axles. That'll be one day,
That's part of why critics of the industry have taken to calling trucks like these sweatshops on wheels. It's where drivers live for up to 20 days at a time. And they often work around the clock, hours that match up to 2 full-time jobs.
We're not out here to make it, get rich. It's out here to make a living and do what we can. That's pretty much what we're here for.
Chris even does his laundry on the go.
Basically got a week's worth of laundry to catch up on, sheets and pillowcases and all that. Try to get ready for the day.
The average salary for the industry is about $50,000 a year. With their long hours, that means many drivers are working for less than minimum wage. And for the last decade, truck drivers' jobs have gotten even harder.
I was built out over a long time, and now it's so convenient for somebody to order something, get it at their doorstep.
And so much free or fast shipping means a lot of traffic. The shipping crisis has created even bigger delays.
If we don't have trucks, we don't have food, we don't have product. If we can't move it, we can't sell it. We can't sell it, we can't make money. So it's very important that we got trucks.
Lines stretched for 5 miles outside a port in California last October as drivers waited to get into terminals. No one's paying for that lost time.
2/3 of the day, that driver is out there waiting to work, doing unpaid work, living out of the truck. I mean, it's an incredibly inefficient system.
There's always stories about somebody that'll be sitting at a place for 5, 6 hours just before they get even checked in.
We're talking another solid hour or two.
The trucking industry is dominated by a few big companies.
They will get drivers to sign a contract that says, we'll train you for free, but you have to work for us for a year. And once drivers are in that situation, of course, they can't leave the job for higher wages, and so they end up accepting subpar wages.
Vasali says most new drivers quit after about 6 months, although that often means they'll pay tons of fees.
It's effectively a system of debt peonage.
Even before the pandemic, more than 90% of truck drivers were leaving the industry each year, but new workers take their spots.
It's just cheaper to bring in a new driver than it is to try to hire and retain an experienced, safe driver.
The truck drivers who joined the Freedom Convoy say they felt forgotten, even though they're keeping America running.
Most people don't realize how hard working it is, how big a job it is. I've done it from one end to the other.
At the start of the pandemic, U.S. truck drivers were celebrated as frontline workers. But by the time they watched Canadian truckers occupy Ottawa, the same old frustrations were back.
A lot of recognition initially when COVID hit about how important trucks were, and now people are saying that trucks aren't necessarily that important and that we're the problem.
When a group from California decided to organize an American convoy, they led the charge by railing against COVID-19 restrictions, even though most of those rules had already been lifted. The protest still resonated with folks across the country.
Thank you! Thank you! Yeah!
We're here to witness and support the truckers, the people who are in the convoy.
Love these people, really do. They're my inspiration.
They gave out food to the truckers at rest stops and packed these rallies to show their support.
It is time to remind the governments around the world that they work for.
The line of trucks stretched for miles at some points.
Today we decided that we're going to go onto the Beltway.
But when the convoy got close to Washington, D.C., it didn't make the impact they wanted. The National Guard deployed 700 members to control traffic in the capital, and rally organizers told drivers to stay out to avoid arrests.
It is very important that we do not get off the exit that we're not supposed to be getting off of.
I'm good with not driving in. I'd like to stay here until we actually accomplish something concrete.
Truckers drove around D.C. in circles instead, but the movement fizzled out in about a week.
This is a small portion. I hope that we achieve everything that we need to.
Still, Chris says he doesn't regret joining the protest, even if it was ignored like many of the issues truck drivers face. He says the support was about much more than mask and vaccine mandates.
When people start seeing trucks on the road, it's something that they can connect with. And brothers and sisters that are actually running these trucks, they know that they're on the front line also.